Hi, Zemeraire here. Today I'm going to be talking about the Dungeons & Dragons campaign setting that I'm making, my vision for it, and a brief overview of what I have so far. A lot of the inspiration for my world does come from the existing D&D lore, and even a bit of Pathfinder. I started playing D&D after I bought the 4th edition Chromatic Draconomicon. At the time, I just wanted to read about the dragons, and I really enjoyed the detailed information that the book provided. Then I got the Metallic Draconomicon, then the monster manuals, and then the player handbook. I did not know anyone at the time who played, so I purchased the starter set box and I roped my younger brother and his girlfriend into playing with me. Now I've moved on to the 5th edition, and aspects of both 4th and 5th edition campaign settings appeal to me, but it's not quite right. The other things I've drawn from include the Cthulhu mythos, real history, and a variety of books, games, movies, and TV shows. I really love the real-life mythologies that include huge pantheons with complex relations between the gods, such as the Greek, Roman, and Japanese pantheons. I also really want to develop a world with a variety of historical settings within it, from the earliest being a primeval new world inhabited by primitive tribes, to the latest being filled with magical steampunk societies. The things I already have for my world are the basic map, which I really need to get someone who can draw real maps to redo for me, a few of the deities reworked, and some basic ideas for the timeline, history, and cultures. What I want to get done early on is to rework the deities, primordials, and the outer planes. I'd also really like to get the start of the history of the mortal plane done, which will be a world inhabited by dragons and prehistoric beasts. As I get through the early parts of the world building, I would like to do individual creature and culture videos, reworking existing creatures and creating new ones, making sure that they all fit into their place in the world for the time period that they're in. I would also like to do spitball videos, where I and one of my friends will talk about a creature, culture, or other aspect of the world that I do not have a fully fledged idea about. At the end of that video, or in a future video afterwards, I can then finalise the subject in question for the world. I do not have any names for the world or the setting yet, so if anyone has any ideas that could fit either those or even a continent, feel free to leave a comment in the down below. For the last part of this video, I'm going to be showing you the map and describing the world's attributes. Please do note, however, that while I try to keep the world somewhat realistic, I do not know everything about how a world is formed, and I do not claim in any way that this world is realistic. But it works for me, and I think it's a good world for D&D. So in this world, the south is hot and the north is cold. The large southern continent has a giant central desert, with rainforests and river deltas on the coastlines. The smaller middle area continent is a mixture of tropical and temperate forests, with the northernmost reaches having cooler forests and mountains. The northern continent and the archipelago attached to it are much cooler, having a more European feel. Some of the areas are even frozen year-round. The southern seas are shallow and warm, teeming with a huge diversity of life. The cooler northern seas, in comparison, seem very barren, but life, while spread out, is on a grand scale, with gigantic deep-sea predators lurking in the great ocean trenches. The world has seasons similar to Earth, but they seem far more extreme based on which side of the world you're on. In the south, the dry season is severe, and much of the south dries out completely, while in the wet season, giant tropical storms wreak havoc on the coastlines, and rain reaches very far inland. The northern areas have more of a winter and summer dynamic, with winter bringing deep snow and cold rain, and in summer the land flourishes. The world does have a moon, but just one to simplify things, and it is tidally locked. If anyone knows how that would affect the tides in the north and south differently, feel free to leave a comment below. I will do some research on this, as I do believe that it would affect the warm shallow seas differently than it would the cold northern seas. That's about it for now, and for the next video I'm going to be talking about the origins of my setting's world and the early history of the gods, primordials, and planes. Thank you so much for listening, and feel free to leave a comment down below. I really would love your input and opinions, and any suggestions that could improve what I have here so far. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!